The story of a programmer named Thomas Anderson, who works for a well-known software company, takes place in the year 1999. He also works as a hacker for a living and goes by the alias Neo on the darknet. Neo has experienced bizarre visions of a place called the Matrix throughout his life. He has never, however, been able to decipher his dreams. He receives a message one day while working on his computer that tells him to follow the white rabbit and makes vague references to his dreams. The door is then tapped, and when Neo opens it, a group of ravers greet him. He sells them illegal goods, and they invite him to a party. When Neo notices that one of the girls has a tattoo of a white rabbit, he accepts the offer and agrees to go with them. At first, Neo declines the offer, but he soon changes his mind. The group then moves on to a rave bar, where a woman by the name of Trinity approaches Neo. She makes it abundantly clear that she was the one who sent him the text message about the Matrix and the white rabbit. Neo inquires about Trinity's explanation, to which she responds that she can only inform him that his life is in danger and that he is under surveillance at the moment. Neo, confused by the strange encounter, returns to his home. He gets a package in his cubicle at work the next day. He enters and discovers a phone that immediately begins to ring. Morpheus, the man on the other end of the line, warns Neo that someone is coming after him. He suggests that he slowly take in the elevator from above. Neo observes a woman pointing toward his cubicle as 3 agents led by Mr. Smith look in his direction. Morpheus tries to help Neo get out of the building, but Neo is so confused that he lets the agents arrest him. Neo is taken into custody for questioning in the following scene, where he learns that he has broken every cyber law in the country. He is informed by Smith that he is most likely to receive a life sentence, but there is a way out. If he assists the agents in capturing Morpheus, the man who contacted him earlier, he can leave the prison free. Morpheus, according to Smith, is the most dangerous terrorist currently living. Neo, on the other hand, insists on speaking with his lawyer and refuses to comply. After that, Smith informs him that if he is unable to speak, it is pointless calling. The agents then force Neo onto the table after his lips suddenly fuse together. After that, through his navel, a probe resembling a shrimp is inserted into his stomach. In his room, Neo immediately breaks out in a cold sweat. He wonders if it was all just a terrifying dream. Morpheus calls him suddenly and asks him to meet him at Adam's Bridge, promising to respond to all of Neo's inquiries. Finally, Neo makes the decision to comply and travels to the location. There, Trinity and 2 other people in a car pick him up. He is instructed to remove his shirt by one of them as they point a gun at him. Neo is perplexed, but Trinity reassures him that he must comply for their mutual benefit. He reluctantly agrees, and Trinity shockingly removes the device that the agents had inserted into his body. After all, it turned out that Neo wasn't dreaming. After that, Trinity takes him to a derelict building, where they meet up with Morpheus again. The enigmatic man informs Neo that none of the answers he has sought his entire life can really be explained. It can only be observed and felt. Neo is then warned by Morpheus that once he discovers the truth, he will never be able to return. After that, Neo is given the option of taking a red or blue pill. While the red pill will keep him in the Wonderland and Morpheus will demonstrate how deep the rabbit hole goes, the first pill will transport him back to his previous life without allowing him to recall his encounters with Trinity, Morpheus, or any other individuals. Neo selects the red pill after brief consideration, indicating his desire to learn the truth. As a result, he has wires attached to him and is strapped to a chair. A shattered mirror miraculously repairs itself, shocking him. He touches the surface, perplexed and intrigued, and the silver begins to seep into his skin. In the meantime, the crew of Morpheus tries to find something on the monitors. Neo eventually passes out as the silver fluid completely covers him. He then wakes up naked and without hair in a pink embryonic pod. His body is covered in a number of black tubes, giving the impression that he is transformed into a lab rat. Neo emerges from the pod after some time and discovers, shockingly, that he is surrounded by pod towers filled with humans. He is swiftly tossed into the gutter when a hovering robot nurse spots him moving. Neo is taken into the ship's cargo bay by a hovercraft just as he is about to drown in the waste. He is relieved to learn that Morpheus owns the ship, and he is reunited with him and his crew, who are now dressed simply in hand-knit clothing. Welcome to the real world, Morpheus. After that, he gets a tour of the ship and meets Apoc, Cypher, Mouse, and the brothers Tank and Dozer. After securing Neo to a chair, the crew inserts a lengthy probe into the back of his head. Neo and Morpheus suddenly find themselves in an all-white world. He no longer has sockets all over his body and has a full head of hair. Morpheus clarifies that the white space is, in fact, a computer program that can transform into anything. The TV and chairs in front of them are fake, they are merely virtual realities created by computers. After that, Neo is shown footage of a contemporary city, which he recognized as the real world. The Matrix, according to Morpheus, is a neural, interactive simulation of this world. After that, Neo discovers the actual world, which turns out to be a pitch-black, desolate void with a cloudy sky. It turns out that AI machines and humans engaged in a conflict at the end of the 20th century. Since the AI machines at the time were powered by solar energy, humans blocked the sky in an effort to defeat them. The AI machines, on the other hand, outwitted the humans, enslaved them, and used them as the world's primary source of power. To power themselves, they utilized the human body's 25,000 BTUs of heat and 120 volts of electricity. The AI began farming humans in a vast field, connecting them to their outlets and trapping them in their pods as demand increased. Neo's world, which he refers to as his Matrix, is merely a computer-generated world designed to control humans so that they could be used as a source of power. Together with the inhabitants of a city that goes by the name of Zion, Morpheus and his crew are the only free humans. It is the last human city, buried beneath the surface near the Earth's center. It turns out that Morpheus and his team regularly use telephones to hack their way into the Matrix and free more people from slavery. The Matrix is managed by computer programs. The agents Neo encountered earlier are examples of machine programs that are capable of assuming control of any human in the Matrix. In the meantime, there are real-world autonomous machines known as Sentinels. They look for people who might have emerged from the Matrix by patrolling the abandoned human city's sewers and passageways. Neo passes out as a result of being overwhelmed by the revelation. When he finally comes to terms with reality, he is warned that he will die in the real world as well if he dies inside the Matrix. That day, a Sentinel comes close to spotting them, but the crew manages to disable their power and hide in the enormous sewer system. Morpheus, Trinity, APOC, Switch, Mouse, Cypher, and Neo meet the Oracle the following day when they enter the Matrix. Cypher, on the other hand, secretly tosses his phone while they are on their way to the destination for some reason. When the group finally gets to Oracle's house, they discover that she raises potentials, children who possess particular qualities of enlightenment and awareness. Surprisingly, when Neo introduces himself to the Oracle, she informs him that he is not the only one and that he will eventually have to choose whether to save Morpheus or himself. Later, as the group returns, they are caught in an ambush. It turns out that Cypher made a sale to them. He wanted to return to his ignorant but blissful life in the Matrix because he had grown weary of fighting for humanity's liberation. Mouse dies when the agents shoot at the group with bullets. Through the walls, Tank is able to aid the remaining crew members in their escape. However, an agent soon spots them, so Morpheus gives himself up to let the others escape. Trinity and the others are able to escape after a brief scare, but Cypher returns to his real body in the Nebuchadnezzar in front of them. Before beginning to unplug the crew one at a time in the real world, he kills the unsuspecting Tank and Dozer immediately. However, Tank, who somehow survived the attack, gets up and shoots Cypher dead before he could get to Trinity. Trinity and Neo safely return to the ship in the following scene, while Agent Smith questions Morpheus about the city of Zion. Hank suggests unplugging Morpheus out of fear that he will reveal their secrets, but Neo says no. He recalls Oracle telling him that he was not the only one who could save Morpheus, but that he could. Neo decides to self-sacrifice in order to bring Morpheus back. Trinity decides to join him because she is impressed by his drive. The two make their way to the building where Morpheus has been kept after equipping themselves with numerous weapons. They get by the guards by shooting and make their way to the lift. They then use the cable to climb to the top of the building and use a bomb to blow up the lobby. They are attacked by police on the roof, who are controlled remotely by the agents. After a prolonged struggle, Neo finally defeats the police and boarded their helicopter with Trinity. The helicopter is piloted by the pair, and they circle the floor where Morpheus has been held hostage. After that, they fire at the agents, causing them to flee for cover. Morpheus takes advantage of this opportunity to flee and run toward the helicopter. Neo, on the other hand, they get in touch with one another, but the agents are able to sabotage the helicopter, so the two of them have to jump from one of the buildings. Trinity jumps while the helicopter crashes and grabs the rope. Neo saves her quickly, and when Morpheus sees this, he yells, "You are the one." Neo tries to remind him of their previous encounter with Oracle, but Morpheus responds that she told him exactly what he needed to hear. The three then hurriedly enter a subway and locate a telephone booth. While Trinity and Morpheus are able to get away, Neo is confronted by Agent Smith. He decides to fight the deadly agent because he has no other option. The fight is brutal. Smith defeats our hacker boy with nearly invincible moves, as expected. He puts Neo in a headlock after throwing him into the train tracks. The train comes close quickly, but Neo somehow backflips off the tracks, killing the agent. Smith, on the other hand, takes over another human and begins to pursue Neo. The Sentinels launch an assault on Nebuchadnezzar simultaneously. The crew and tank are getting ready to launch an electromagnetic pulse at them, but they won't be able to until Neo returns. While the former is being led into a building by tank, he avoids Smith's attacks. Unfortunately, the agent catches up to him just as he enters room 303 and shoots him multiple times in the heart, instantly killing him. At the ship, the situation is even worse. The